Riot police, we are told, have gathered at the Beverly Center right now. Thousands of screaming, pen-wielding rock fans are waiting to get autographs from the British band Depeche Mode. At one time, police say the line of teenagers stretched for about 15 blocks. Some of the die-hard fans say they camped out for days just to get a glimpse of the rock stars. The band members are at the Warehouse Record Store tonight to promote the release of their new album, Violator.
We thought it was going to be about 30 people, and it turns out it's about 17 to 20,000. It's unbelievable.
We've got this tribute album that comes out in the summer, which is really interesting because there's a lot of contemporary bands covering our songs, and that finally, so there's some good bands that have decided to cover our songs.
Martin Gore is an amazing songwriter, and he's written so many good songs, or great songs, that I can't take. It's all these songs that I think, songs that we would hear and be like, why didn't we think of that? It's so perfectly simple and perfectly brilliant.
There's always like 2 or 3 songs on every Depeche album which are very memorable and are really well put together, and are just like stand up to any kind of interpretation, which is the sign of a good song. The reason why we did a song for this album is because primarily, obviously, we were asked, and more importantly, I really like Depeche Mode.
Depeche Mode was like, we can sample things that were never meant originally to make music and come up with stuff that's, entirely new.
A lot of what Depeche do is sort of based on the sounds, and it's like all the songs are tied up with the sounds, but the really, really good songs, once you take all the sounds away, the song's still there.
Isn't it the greatest honour you can have, for a lot of contemporary bands to cover your songs and admit that you were an influence? That's surely the greatest honour you can have.
We just kind of tried to figure out artists that we liked, and then, just gave them a ring and see if they were into Depeche Mode, and 9 times out of 10, most of them really wanted to do it, and we let them just pick whatever song they wanted to. We kind of got such an eclectic mix of songs from, obviously their biggest songs to songs like Shame, which Self did, and Monument, which Gus did, which are very obscure tracks compared to what people would pick, but we weren't like, oh, we have to have this song or that song. As far as I was concerned, it's just about getting the right artists and let them express what Depeche Mode means to them.
The interesting thing about it is it's a lot of alternative rock bands, so it's not particularly electronic based. It's like coming from this American alternative rock angle, which we've been a great influence on.
What makes this tribute album as good as it is that most of the bands on there aren't trying to sound like Depeche. They're actually trying to sound like themselves, doing Depeche songs, and that's why it works.
There's quite a wide spectrum of bands as well, at the top end, like, Smashing Pumpkins have done one, and The Cure.
For me, it was a straight choice between World of My Eyes and Try Walking in My Shoes, because they're my 2 favourite songs, really. And I thought that they would, both those songs, I could kind of get into them lyrically, and I thought they would suit my voice, and I thought I could do an interpretation that would sort of at least throw another light on the song. And I went for World of My Eyes in the end because it just felt more natural. I tried both of them at home and it just worked straight away.
I particularly like the Smashing Pumpkins version, Never Let Me Down, because it's kind of like the opposite of what you'd expect the Pumpkins to do with it. I actually like their version a lot better now.
Billy Corgan recorded it in 1993, and it's just, classic Pumpkins form. Locust is a band. They're signed to R&S Records in the UK out of Belgium, and they're super cool. They have an album out. It's not out in America. The unique thing about what they did is they did Master and Servant, and when Depeche Mode put out their single for Master and Servant, I guess they did an A-side and a B-side, and it was a submissive mix and a dominant mix. So when Mark Van Owen turned in his version, he did a submissive and a dominant mix. So he's a big Depeche Mode fan, and it turned out really cool. It's kind of that we used I guess it would be the submissive mix, which is kind of like loungy, and it's very ironic because it's a lounge style with a duet, man and a woman talking about let's play Master and Servant. So it's cool. Depeche Mode was a band that when David and I really first got together that inspired us to make music. and inspired us to make music to try and write good songs, but at the same time not worry about it being guitar, bass, drums, or whatever. We could produce them, use our wild imagination to produce them, and have it not sound like anything else. And that doesn't take away from them being good quality songs. And just listen to it and enjoy it, I think, is our ultimate goal. If we can turn people onto some of the bands that are on the record that they might not know about, or if we can turn people onto maybe, how good the songwriting was of Depeche Mode that might not know. I think that's pretty much the goal.
Judging by the quality of this album, which I think is exceptionally high, the best collection of cover versions I think on one album I've ever heard.
Well, he writes great songs. I mean, you could sit down to a piano and play any Martin Gore songs, and it'll sound like a good song. So it just takes a good band to do what they do with the song, and it's going to come out cool. And that's what happened.